Alright, so now that we have all of our code in here for the red seed, let's go and do the same thing or something similar for our blue seed. So we'll come down here, and so we already have this first test here to see if seed color is blue, and now we need to just come in and write some if statements. So if, and this is going to be something new as well, if the temperature is between 60 and 70, so you may be inclined to write this as 60 and then put less than equal to temp, and then put this here. So maybe something like this. This would maybe be the way that you would write it in some mathematical notation. So basically that's saying the temperature is between 60 and 70. Unfortunately, you cannot get away with this in C++. So let me show you the correct way that we write in this expression. So if we have two bounds that are variable, our value has to be between, we have to express the variable being associated separately with both of those bounds. So we could say temp, well you could say 60 or temp first. You could say temp is greater than or equal to 60 and temp is less than or equal to 70. So that's the way we have to write that expression there. So if we have a particular value and it needs to fall on a range, we have to specify that particular variable associated with both the lower range and the upper range. And notice that I use the AND Boolean operator here as opposed to the OR operator. So if we had put OR, just to show you the difference here, if we'd put OR in here, somebody may put in the temperature of 150. That's a very hot soil temperature, right? So it would qualify here. So 150 is in fact greater than 60. So this would be true. So it doesn't matter if this part was false or not. So really 150 doesn't fall in the range. So we don't need to have the OR operation there. We need to have the AND operation, because both this and the right-hand side, so both the left and the right-hand side need to be true. All right, so come down and put a brace in, and then we'll come down a little bit below here, right above our other closed brace. So what we're saying is that all of this, oops, I actually put my closed brace in the wrong spot. I need to be above the otherwise here. So if the temperature is on our range between 60 and 70, we'll do some code here. Otherwise, which we say else, right? We'll do this. Okay. If you want to, you can go ahead and do the output statement down here. So let me scroll down a bit. So we'll do cout and say a mushroom will grow. Okay, new line character. All right, so now we can check to see if the soil is wet. So we can see if soil moisture is wet. So do that test. And that turns out to be true. We will output using cout and say a dandelion will grow. All right, and the same sort of logic here. Again, we could use the else here as opposed to using if, assuming that we knew that the user had inputted wet or dry. Again, we're not doing any sort of input validation in this program, but maybe for program 5 we'll come back and revise program 4 and show how to do some input validation. And I'll probably show some alternatives, just how to write program 4 and actually improve our logic and see what the difference is whenever we change this up a bit. So soil moisture, and test to see if it's equal to dry. And so we'll come down here and put in our close brace and then do our cout and say a sunflower will grow. Okay, so that's the basics of our program. We check to see if we have a red seed or a blue seed, and follow the appropriate logic within those. So you could even have an else operation here. So if the seed wasn't red, we may be able to assume that it was blue. So you could actually put here an else. And we'll come back and change that just to see what the difference is whenever we have the else there versus having the if statement there. All right. Another thing that I will point out real quick is that if we only have a single statement that we want to execute associated with an if, so if this is true, we want to do this output here. So if that's the only statement that we want to have, we do not have to have this open brace, close brace defining the body of this if statement being true. And the same thing goes here, the same thing over here. Well, that's not true. I guess we do need to have, well, no, we don't have to have these braces either because we only have that single statement. But if you have multiple statements associated with an if or an else, then you definitely need to have those braces. For me, and the way that I do my programming, I always put those braces in regardless if I have a single statement or more than one statement. So if I come back and actually add in additional lines, I already have those braces there. And I also find it's just easier to read for me, but maybe that's just what I'm accustomed to. So you can make that decision. If you only have a single statement, then you can just ignore putting in those open brace, close braces. Oh, we actually forgot to do our output statement here for this else. So this should be cout, and then we have a mushroom will grow. All right. So I think that's it. So I think we're ready to save this program and then run it and see how this program works.